Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 4, Episode 9. Talk about lower deckers. I did not see that coming. Hey, it is Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek, coming right at you from the heart of Trekland and letting the dust settle just a bit on all the recent Trek headlines and episodes. So hey, instead of a hot take or a quick take, you get a second opinion from Dr. Trek. Hey, look, I have been writing, editing, dot connecting, interviewing, hosting, archiving, punditizing, and fanning Star Trek for a while now. And I just want to say, the inner fight, yeah, I totally see why they didn't want to publicize that title in advance. It's a takeoff on the inner light, right, of Next Generation, the Hugo-winning tale of Picard living a whole lifetime in his mind in only 25 minutes. Now, look, we get the obvious Season 4 arc here, right? The Agonizer mystery ship. I call it the Agonizer. That's what it looks like, right? What we didn't expect, but what we really saw coming, and I've been talking about it the last few episodes here, is what is going on with Mariner, the Mariner build all season long. And we finally got there. As in, what is her problem? And then on top of that is the meta of the week, which is the old Star Trek trope of the crime planet, right? Even got a bar named Muds. But is it really from another hive of scum and villainy? But content aside, just for a moment, what really stood out to me about this episode was the structure, the layout, the direction, the cinematography, the camera moves, the character blocking. We had some big landscapes with small characters, big frames, and then we had a lot of 3D background to foreground depth going on. Really interesting stuff. So kudos to our writer this week. Well, it's Mike McMahon himself, obviously. Mike, the creator of the show, top showrunner, executive producer. This is actually his 8th writing credit. See, there's a pattern here. He's normally written the premiere and the finale of each season, right? Now, he broke that in 3rd season. Rather than episode 1, he had episode 5. Here we are, for those keeping score at home. It's episode 9. Does that mean he's not doing the finale, or he is? Now look, as showrunner, as head writer, he's always got a hand in all the scripts. We're setting the direction up front and then doing a final polish if need be. But it's always interesting to watch the episodes that he is sole credit on, that he's obviously had the time in. It's like ending and beginning each season. Is he going to do that for episode 10, the finale next week, have 2 in a row? We'll see next week. And meanwhile, the director this week, and yes, let's talk about that scope, that look that feels just slightly a little more cinematic this week. Brandon Williams, this is his 3rd credit of the season after In the Cradle of Vexilon and Parth Ferengi's Heart Place. He also had been in this pattern we've seen of season 2 and 3, been the storyboard artist for 3 episodes a year. This year, got a bump up to director. Kudos again here. Again, for bringing some different looks, feels, I'm going to say even more depth and scope. Okay, little things, big things. And boy, Mike really has a thing about this civilian scientists who aren't in Starfleet. Why? What are they missing out on? It seems to be consuming them. I have to say, I never thought about it until I saw Lower Decks. But hey, those anti-venom suits look like 100-year-old soft suits from the Tholian Web. Very cool. Makes a lot of sense. Even better is this TOS TNG trope of the aide who never says a word. And these guys aren't even in bumpy forehead makeup. And somewhere between, well, Perseoff 9 and Sherbal 5, Roman numerals are back, baby. As in Roman numerals for the planet order as a planet orbiting its star, right? I mean, those Arabic numerals last week, I was really worried we're going to have to get into the labs numbered on the planet surface. And yeah. And hey, we've got this crime city on this lawless planet. Pickpocket districts? Sure. Perfect poke at Gene's original dictum about no pockets on future pants. Immediately contradicted, of course, by Jimmy Doohan's special demand for pockets by God on his pants. Perfect place for hiding cigs in the 60s. Oh, and hey, did you catch it? To Lynn exaggerating right at Mariner that there would be a 2.47 times more perilous emission if she didn't know what was to come? Yeah, yeah. Verbal 47, FTW. Oh, now I don't often talk about music, but I loved the danger themes here with the kind of slidey melodies with the horns. Kind of like motion picture, the V'ger themes, the Decker Ilea merger scene. Nice move, Tim Westlake. Now, by the time we get to New Axton, what, somebody's a country music fan of Hoyt? Yeah. The black outfitted humans, slightly evil. British? Oh, very Empire, yeah. And these Star Wars touches are all over the place, right? The bombast and horns of the score, the rounded edges of the rectangular blocky shuttles landing. Did you see? That whole New Axton cityscape, the way it was designed, and most of all, Rutherford's highlight line of the whole episode. Oh, look, there's a snake eye drinking some green liquid over there. Well, there was. Keep watching. He's there. Not as big as Jabba, not as big as even remastered Jabba, but very green. Oh, did you catch this? It is fortunate we were within range of the planet. There she goes, to Lynn, the conscience of the writer's room, saving their ass and explaining that long-range beam out from the shuttle. Oh, and the shuttlecraft Death Valley has a warp engine? I guess that's what puts the A in the Type 6A shuttlecraft. Now, I thought the glass storm, the knife rain, killer hail, that was very cool. And it's been a while, feels like, since we've had one of these manic Easter egg shows. But yes, you could slow down, get all the different aliens that were there at New Axton. Now, I'm not going to name everything. You can get that from everybody else. We'll slow down and take you through all the aliens. But it was cool to see. There's a new tripedal one here. There's a new green mantis-looking alien here. A lot of the old favorites from, well, that you're barely learning the names from, like, oh, I don't know, the Gilrakian, the Scrabble, the Taxor, and whatever that plant guy Narge was from the Moopsie, right? Him too. He's the hawker over at Zombie's competing bar, you know, where the black market intelligence is way less reliable. But best of all, the ancient trick, as Freeman says, of the Baylock puppet wannabe, which isn't a puppet at all. Okay, cute bit. I thought it was going to be one of those robotic gypsy old school fortune tellers for a minute. Most of all, a Klingon first. Hijacking a bird of prey from the roof? We've never seen that. What a cool idea. But did you notice? Also, purple blood. That Pepto-Bismol pink purple blood. Lots of Klingon pink purple blood. Now, one of my soapboxes is, when was the only time we ever saw Klingon blood that color? Of course, Star Trek VI, right? Every other time we saw a Klingon bleed, which was mainly Worf and whoever he was fighting through Next Generation and DS9, it was red, dark brown red. I can go back and look at the scene where he and Kalar are smashing their hands together when they're in their holodeck simulation in Emissary. It's dark red brown. Star Trek VI was the outlier. But hey, they're the ones with the big PR budget. They're the ones on the big screen making the big splash that's going to carry it through with the blobby, wobby, no gravity bubbles of blood. Forget how the screen time over the years. That's the thing that sets with you. So, yeah. And you know what? I'm the Mr. Texture Not Trivia guy. So what are we going to do about it? What I've been saying for years is maybe that's a hangover of the augment virus hanging on through the genetic strain of the species, i.e. species diversity. So, okay, it is what it is. Red blood for some, Pepto-Bismol for others. Of course, I have questions like this guy with the gray top and bottom jumpsuit, but black shoulder tops, with the Vulcan haircut on an obviously round-eared non-Vulcan. Who is he with the comm badge from Starfleet? Where is he? Who does he report to? Oh, did you notice this? Is it trivia or is it going to be something? At one point, T'Lyn points out that Mariner was at the battle with the Packlids. And Mariner says, wait, you were there too? It just flies by. Again, is this a piece of weird little trivia? Or is this some kind of dot connecting that's going to become important later on? Stay tuned. Okay. Favorite line? Teach me how to tap dance, Beverly Crusher. I mean, come on, Boyms. I mean, this was not exactly a Boibler episode, obviously, but I love the moment in the beginning of these 4 ex-Starfleet characters of, I don't know, 7 of 9, and Tom Riker, and yeah, Nick Locarno. Boimler goes for Bev Crusher. Now, look, it's interesting because this is 2381, right? She's listed as ex-Starfleet. If you go back and date the events that we get in Picard Season 3, this is the year that she gives up on Picard, takes the soon-to-be Jack away, and leaves not just Picard and the Enterprise, but leaves Starfleet. So she is a freshly minted veteran at this point. But hey, those Starfleet databases, they're pretty efficient, especially when there's, like the unknown assassin out there who's let it be known that they're only hunting for ex-Starfleet. And yes, T'Lyn, after 2 episodes of being off screen, is very much back, and she's bringing more history. Now, by my count, because little red flag went off as I saw this episode for this moment, but checking notes, throughout history, we have seen Vulcans neck pinch humans, Denobulans, Ferengi, Andorians, Tellarites, a horse, a Lamatya, and a disguised 8472. But never a Klingon. I was right. This was so cool. But hey, speaking of that takeover, speaking of that Klingon battle, speaking of blood, did you see where most of this pink-purple Klingon blood was seen? Around Ma'a's mouth. Did that go right past you? How did he subdue the Klingon captain? Apparently, in the most feral, primitive Klingon way ever. They don't just sing songs about it. They still do carve out their hearts in battle. Wow. I mean, it's off screen, but wow. Oh, I hope he sticks around. Now, Rutherford, as we saw, and Tendi both get a great moment here. Oh, yes. She of the Queen Winter Constellations talks to the hand and stops the whole damn fight. And Captain Freeman, she is so smooth. She is so far from those, stress-induced panic attacks of paranoia from season 1. She double thinks this whole crime planet thing. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Put that hoodlums and racketeer seminar knowledge to good work. Good job, Captain. And Billups is bucking for the O'Brien Black Ops Undercover Engineer of the Year award. But hey, this is Mariner's episode. Yeah, the one we've been waiting for all year. The one that pays off this build, right? I mean, who didn't see her going rogue at one point? She snaps. She does it. She goes into her superhero stance when she lands. She does a Geordie roll over the same hill that everybody else just walks down. But finally, we get to that what's eating Beckett Mariner moment. Cedo Jackson, an original, official lower decker. The tie-in came out of the blue, like a TOS phaser bolt. Cedo, Ensign Cadet Cedo, then Ensign Cedo from Next Generation. It makes sense timeline-wise. I mean, this left me gobsmacked. On the order of the changelings popping up in Picard, or 2 talking Tellarites on Prodigy. What an amazing, amazing use of the universe. And the timing works out perfectly. I mean, it totally got to me. And it so rings true to Beckett's saga from what, 11 years earlier? It all adds up. And in this mystery timeline that we're trying to settle, that makes total sense. And then, of all things, her affinity for Klingons, the bonding with Ma, comes in again. And she's over it. She's hugging. She even pulls off her own Kirk Cardway inspirational captain speech. And did you pick up on one line when she's talking to the fighting foes out there, right? If we want to get off this planet, we all have to stop fighting over resources and work together. Well, if that's not Star Trek in one line for the 60s or the 20s, I mean, go meta with that. And how much more Roddenberry-esque can you get? So, hey, I got to say, seeing this mix of non-Federation aliens all interacting in conflict at first, I got Voyager vibes of, well, what, Killing Game or especially Flesh and Blood, right? The holographic species. Dare I say, even The Chase from TNG. The aliens working together to solve the puzzle. Mike, is this for sweeps month? I mean, we got it to be continued. All we need is a Mr. Wolf, fire! And it's Nick Locarno who is running this Most Dangerous Game Team Edition. What is going on? We still have another episode to figure that out. But did you see his Agonizer ship is hovering and just leaving a meeting with the Klingon ship that we later overtake? I mean, why? What is going on here? Wait a minute. Cedo, Nick Locarno, Nova Squadron. Okay, Wesley Crusher's off right now thinking about joining the Travelers. Who was that fourth member of Nova Squadron? Back TNG, first duty, right? Do you even remember her name? Jean Hajar. Say her name. Now, you know, with Cedo, they talked about not leaving her dead. They talked about bringing her back somehow as TNG wound down. And better yet, they talked about bringing her back on DS9, finding her in a Cardassian prison after all this time. Could that be in the cards here for episode 10? The old friend of Nick Locarno? Or is that to be Jean Hazar? Oh, one last thing. Minimalist? Who knew that Nick Locarno was going to be the far-sighted, 800 years ahead of his time designer visionary whose aesthetic would go on to, you know, inspire the designer of that Transformers Quajon ship that Book is flying around in? Okay, maybe this is a good place to sign off on this second opinion. But what do you think? What do you think about what I think about this penultimate, near finale adjacent episode of the fourth season of Lower Decks? Come on, comment below and like and subscribe if you would, please. Ring the bell, do all the things. Look, boost the signal. I dare you to subscribe for some more sanity in Star Trek. Most of all, yeah, if you do appreciate the Dr. Trek perspective here and everything we're doing at Trekland, hey, I invite you to go check out all of our other podcasts and live streams and experiences like Trekland Tuesdays Live every Tuesday, like Second Opinion, the rest of these if you haven't seen them yet. Hey, Cadet Alice and Dr. Trek Talk Prodigy, too. So much is over there. Portal 47, your backstage monthly pass. Trekland Treks Tours. Yeah, your own custom unique away mission. Everything is over there at LarryNemecek.com. Where else? We'll see you next time. Trek well, everybody.